Morning, morning. Another day, another dollar. Sky. Hello, Sky. That's my dog. Hello, my girl. Sky and I are down at the boatyard, and somewhat not a planned trip. So we had a bit of an unfortunate incident last Sunday. Like I was saying, somewhat of an unfortunate incident the other day. I won't go into the details, but we drifted across a mooring chain. It was pretty difficult conditions. The wind was blowing really heavily from the front. Current was going out, and things just got a little bit sideways, and we drifted across a mooring line. The prop and the rudder snagged on the mooring line, and it was my own fault. I had asked somebody who was inexperienced in those conditions to helm for me while I picked up a mooring ball, and it was pretty much a keep it in a straight line. We needed to navigate around a mooring ball, but sort of essentially ferry glide across, it just went a little bit sideways, and so snagged on the mooring line. So I have a suspicion that either the prop is bent, or we've got something caught around the prop, or the worst case scenario. Well, the prop bent is pretty much worst case as well, but the worst case scenario is that the rudder is delaminated, that it's snagged on the mooring, on the riser chain, and delaminated or somehow damaged the rudder. So the plan this morning is to sort of come down, and it's high water in about half an hour's time. So I get the water taxi out, get my wetsuit on, and dive under the boat and have a look and see what the situation is. So I've mentioned before, I'm really chuffed with this place, Lake Yard. This is where John Seagull used to be from basically when it was new. The original owner kept it here from the day it was launched, and in fact the lettering, the name on the back of the boat, is kind of bolted on, and so and that was factory fitted. So they spec'd out the name, and it's been sort of custom built, custom made out of fiberglass, and bolted on to the transom. So John Seagull was here since 1979. I was 5 when John Seagull came here. She's kind of back at her sort of original home, and the marina staff here were absolutely delighted to have her back, and they've been absolutely amazing. So one of the nice things about Lake Yard is that they have a free water taxi, so you can basically just, whenever they've got a gap, you can get taken out to your boat for free. So the moorings are fairly reasonable, with the harbour fees and all that kind of stuff. I pay a couple of grand for keeping a 42-foot boat here, which I think is super reasonable. 11 point is 31 foot. That costs me $1,200, and then I have to get water taxis and all that kind of stuff. And I don't get any discounts in the bar, all that stuff. So yeah, here you get discounts in the bar, you get a free water taxi. And actually, I think that a couple of grand a year for the mooring is infinitely reasonable. So yeah, nice place. Making friends, Guy. Good news. Because the temperatures are so warm and the water is so warm currently, it's the water temperature at the moment in the UK I think is around 18 degrees, which is unseasonable. It's not unheard of, but it's been 18 degrees since sort of June almost. And so there's been a lot more growth on the boats recently, and so a lot of boats are getting hauled out, and so the marina is offering a special deal to get hauled out, pressure washed, and then pop back in and put it back on a mooring. So I'm going to do that. So the boat's going to be hauled out just after lunch. I'm going to sit in the office and catch up with work. The boat's going to get hauled out after lunch, and I'll check the rudder, check the prop, obviously get it cleaned, and if everything's hunky-dory, then it will pop her back on a mooring. If it's not, then the plan is probably going to be pop her back on the mooring anyway, because I don't particularly want to pay for yard storage, and I'll deal with the rudder or the prop another time. I just wanted to have an opportunity to get it out, get it cleaned off again, check the rudder, check the prop, check the through-hole fittings that were glassed off, and then maybe pop it back in the water after that. So yeah, that's the plan for today, and fingers crossed there's no damage, and there's maybe just a little bit, there's some rope or something like that, which was caused the vibration through the wheel when we sort of managed to get off the what we were snagged on the other day, and so yeah, fingers crossed. Stay tuned. How about you guys? I'm freaking bored now. It's now 1:30. I've been here since 8:30. Went and ran an errand. Was back here just after 9, and I've just been killing time, working a little bit, but yeah, not a huge amount to do today. It's Friday. My team's off. It's August. So yeah, I'm freaking bored. I want to show you something. I don't know what this is. I think it's southerly. Not 100% sure. I'm sure somebody can point it out. But it's got that super low profile with the skeg at the back, and then the rudders and a single prop. I think there's somebody working on it. But yeah, this year has been particularly bad with growth because the water's been so warm. So I don't know how long this has been in. I think this is since the start of the year. So whatever this anti-foul was doesn't seem to have been working. This was the same stuff, I think, that John Seagull had originally before I put the copper-based paint on. Yeah, so it's what's interesting is all these, looks like oysters that have grown. I mean, there's one there. That one there in the middle. That was huge. That'd be a good meal for someone on here. Yeah, it's massive. You know, some of these ones like this, you add all of these up, and this is just what's left here. They would have swept up everything else. I reckon there was probably a few £100 worth of seafood on this hole when they scraped it all off. Yeah, that's going to be fun. Yeah, it's bad this year. A lot of the boats are coming out because of this. But you know. Didn't quite get a video of that. There's a few people that have turned up for on a large 45-foot powerboat with buckets and buckets and buckets of beer, like those big gardening buckets of beer, Alco Pop and various alcoholic drinks, vodka and all sorts of stuff like that. I have a funny feeling there's going to be some very hungover people tomorrow, very sunburned people tomorrow. But yeah, Friday, the weather's absolutely amazing this weekend, so we'll see what the people look like on Saturday, Sunday, and going into Monday. Right, we're up next. So they've asked me just to go get John Seagull warmed up and bring her in. So we're going to bring her in, bows in. They're going to lift her out, and then we'll check it out and assess what needs to be done. Yeah, we go from there. I don't know what we're going to find, but yeah, we're up next. Yeah, so on board, everything's looking fine. Just got to go get the boat onto the into the slings, and then they'll lift her out and see what we've got. I met a guy actually who's a electrical engineer for marine electrical engineer. So I had a chat with him about some things that I want to improve and modernize on the boat as well. So maybe we'll do that over the winter, but it's a nice contact to have. So hopefully a friend from a previous sailing trip, Fabio. Maybe Fabio will be able to come and help as well. Absolute flipping genius when it comes to stuff like that. Eager beaver, quick learner. So I think between Carl and Fabio, I think if I can call in a favour, Fabio, then yeah, we'll be in good shape. But the idea with John Seagull is to turn it into a really basic adventure boat. So some solar panels and things like that, but in reality, even limited interior lights, no sophisticated navigation. So if it's not available on a phone or an iPad, then it's not going to get installed. So yeah, that's the plan. Anyway, I'm waffling. I'm just waiting for a phone call from Noel, the bosun, stroke taxi driver, stroke author, and we'll hopefully get lifted out in a sec. Fingers crossed there's nothing wrong. A bit nervous about this approach. Probably here if I bring the phone down here, it's really windy. So yeah, and a bit nervous. I think I'm going to have to approach on the sort of upwind side. Oh, it looks like they've got a boat coming out to escort me in. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, approach on the upwind side. I've got a few fenders on the port, on the starboard side. We'll see what happens. Did you go see what's written on the other side? What's that? Yeah. Oh yeah, but it's better than I was expecting it. So do you know what all of these words mean?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah? So all the people whose names are on the other side, we came up with this list of what we think good mental health is all about.
Oh, that's from the past year. I saw it get speed up.
It's not too bad.
Hope the boat doesn't fall over. Oh yeah.
It's interesting to see where the highest areas of wear are on the prop, because you see everything that's clean is where the water moves really quickly. Nice to see all the letters still on there. So we did this in March and put it in the water. And my daughter, how old are you?
I'm 11.
Oh, my son's 11 as well. My daughter's 14 and she wrote all this stuff on the keel and the rudder. Ah well, big letters, it's easy. Yeah. The black definitely performs better than the white does in the anti-foul. So EU45, this is 6 months in the water. It's not too bad. Yeah, so this is what we were worried about here, which is...
it's coming off.
Okay, yeah, it's coming off. Mooring chain. Nice that the names came up. Sarah will be chuffed with the quality of her work. So that's on the back. We'll see. And for those of you watching this for the first time, people on the other side who helped get the boat ready. And this is all the words that we came up with when we were brainstorming that signify good mental health. And on the leading edge of the keel is that. Cool. There we go. There she is. The good ship, Jonathan Livingston Seagull. So, it's come up rather well actually. I mean, we've not spent a huge amount of time jet washing it, but gosh, I asked them to move the strap a foot further back, and thank frickin' goodness I did that. So, yeah, Yeah, so delighted with that. Delighted with that. So they're gonna pop it back in now. It's going to be a bit nerve-wracking. Wind's blowing from left to right. So yeah, it's some clever thinking to get us off here.